But
Yeah.
I was watching with amazement at the way you were getting torched on social media. I know you alluded to it. And it just astounds me. You know, I was listening to you this morning talk about, people who aren't able to say, look, his tweets aren't my favorite thing, but we got to get the man elected.
Right.
That's a normal reaction.
Right.
Instead, this is the most appalling thing ever for Trump to be Trump. Now, let's get the record straight. That was the second tweet was not his Memorial Day tweet. The first tweet was all the right notes, and he said all the right things about honoring those who have fallen while serving their country. The second one, Trump was on brand. A happy Memorial Day to the scoundrels and the scum who are out to get me, blah, 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 blah. And so you simply pointed out, all right, yep, that's him, but be a conservative, care for the country, and know that in this binary choice, he's got to win on November the 5th. That's it. It's all just a little bit of clarity. Oh, my gosh. You'd have thought you wanted to have John Wayne Gacy Day in America.
Liberals have fewer arguments with me. I mean, we argue on the basic things. Liberals understand me, tolerate me, listen to me, and have fewer mean, ridiculous, vicious things to say about me than these never Trump jackals. I remember when you used to be reasonable, when you used to care about character and politicians. Good grief, man.
Well,
it's a cluster.
Well, I did a deep dive on a lot of the people that were the most profane with you, and I looked at their accounts. No, I thought it would be interesting because I wanted to see what kind of bona fide conservatism they had. I wanted to see their conservative bona fides. Announcer voice, they ain't. They don't have any. I mean, they're not.
They say they do. One guy called himself a conservatarian, which is kind of a conservative libertarian. Somebody else there still trying, my favorite is Reagan Republican, as if Reagan, would somehow approve of bagging on Trump to get us a second Biden term. Jeez.
Well, meanwhile, none of the people denouncing you seem to have any problem with Joe Biden as the sitting president on Memorial Day, laying the ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery and telling Gold Star families about his son's death from cancer. Now, I don't mean to be disrespectful. We've all lost loved ones, but he stood there and said, "Yep, you lost your loved one in battle. I lost Beau to cancer," because he's trying, of course, to make the case. I think still that Beau's brain cancer was somehow related to his being on the
battlefield death. It's like, and boy, I don't want to say, I'm going to be really careful. We're doing talk shows on the fly. It's almost like stolen family valor. And by that, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Beau, who did serve our country and et cetera, but attempting to glom into, to conflate that with somebody whose son took a bullet in Fallujah. I mean, it's just wrong. It's just so wrong.
I've done this over the years, and I've made a mistake too. Somebody will tell me, "Hey, I lost my wife or I lost my husband," and I'll say, "Well, I know what that's like because my Denise died." And you got to catch yourself, because when somebody is expressing to you their grief, you don't need to one up them with your grief.
But what you've described, and since I obviously know you, and so does this listenership, you're not doing that. You're attempting to share common ground with them and say, I too have felt
maybe
lost.
He is too.
You're not trying to. Well, but then
maybe he is too. I don't know.
I don't think anybody would mind. I don't think anybody would mind if President Biden were to. There are 100 situations where he could go and say, "Look, I lost my son too," and it would kind of work. But when he does make it about him, when he does seek to make himself a gold star dad, when he does seek to share the honorable turf with those whose kids have been lost in battle in wartime, it's just stone cold dishonest.
Well, at the very least, it's worthy, I think, of a raised eyebrow and maybe criticism. And yet, what I'm saying is, to the people who went bananas over Trump's Memorial Day thing, they didn't say a word about Biden doing that. Well, that's probably because, as you said, whether they are willing to admit it or not, they're Biden voters.
They're okay with it. It was the easiest replies, the easiest evening of replies I ever had. Okay, copy that. You're a Biden voter. Thank you. Boop. Okay, copy that. You're a Biden voter. Thank you. Boop. And then sometimes they'd come back and go, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Be what you are. Be what
Just
you
be
are.
what you are. Or say, I don't like this tweet, but he needs to get elected. I mean, here's a text from Dallas reacting to our conversation right now on the My Pillow text line. And you know how much I love it. 800-655-MIKE. Give us your instant feedback when you hear us talking about this kind of stuff. 800-655-6453. Dallas writes, it is about getting the man elected. So why is he so clueless when it comes to the proper time and place? Nice post on Memorial Day. It doesn't give him license to be a jackass the rest of the day. So I think the point is, yeah, I get it. I mean, but nonetheless, you got to take Donald Trump, warts and all, and believe me, a lot of people love the sharp elbows. Some don't, many don't. That's okay. Who are you going to vote for November 5th?
And spare me the hand wringing over this. I mean, I'm about done with this. So please lecture me more about a Truth Social post where it was Happy Memorial Day to all, including the human scum who are coming after me. All right, go don't like that. That's fine. But spare me the hand-wringing up against Joe Biden, whose presidency has a military death toll by virtue of our Afghanistan exit. Our country is endangered by this man and his policies. Right. But please tell me more about why you have the sads because you don't like a Trump Truth Social post. Please regale us with more of those stories. Doggone it.
This criminal trial in New York is 1,000 times more important than a mean tweet because we've now got the future of the country in the hands of 12 jurors.
Yep.
It's real simple. I mean, I don't know what happens if he gets convicted. All of us need to be prepared for that.
He wins 40 states. That's what happens.
Well, I hope you're right.
I'm only half kidding.
Well, you could be right. You could be wrong. I mean, polling suggests both scenarios. There's also polling that says that there are because get ready. If it happens, if he's convicted, all we're going to hear from now till November 5th is presidential candidate and convicted felon Donald Trump. That's all we're going to hear. That's the goal. That was the aim. It will be overturned on appeal in a New York minute, but probably not before the election.
Yeah, won't be that big a New York minute.
And that was the whole point. Now, will America? There are two lawyers on the jury. That I hold out some hope there because if there's somebody maybe
Barack Obama's a constitutional lawyer too, so lawyer is a meaningless term.
But the problem is there's still no consensus among legal experts as to what crime Alvin Bragg is alleging.
I know.
They're defending, this is a state misdemeanor which died years ago under the statute of limitations. It was zapped into life in the form of roughly 36 felonies by claiming that bookkeeping violations were committed to hide another crime. What is that second crime? Jonathan Turley has asked this. He's been brilliant on this. Even liberal legal analysts admit they can't figure out what was being alleged in Bragg's indictment. I mean, and the situation still hasn't changed very much. It's all going to come down to this Mershon and the instructions he gives to the jury. And I'm telling you what, the deck is stacked, Mark. It is absolutely, the system is rigged against Trump. Mershon is going to give them instructions. They're going to a day when they get home, although I got to believe they're following the media coverage. They've been off all week.
And it's so weird because they haven't been sequestered.
They're not sequestered.
How can you not, even if 5% of the content coming from Trump in the courthouse lobby going in and coming out, even if 5% of the commentary across the cable spectrum gets into their ears, they have to have some notion. It's their job to ignore it. It is their job to ignore it. But they have to have some notion that the country increasingly thinks this whole thing's a sham.
They got to have some notion that the star witness is a scum. I mean, Michael Cohen? Are you kidding me? This guy who admitted stealing tens of thousands of dollars from Trump, they know that, and you're right. They're supposed to ignore it, but they're human beings. They're not going to avoid that. So we'll see. I mean, it only takes one. But I don't know what happens. If he gets convicted, you say he wins 40 states.
Here's the math. The moment he's convicted, there's X number of voters who will go, okay, they're kind of in the mushy middle, and like, or maybe they stay home. Maybe they just can't show up and vote for a convicted felon. So we lose that X amount. The number Y, which may be letter Y, which may be larger, is the number of people. It's the folks who say this is just wrong, and I'm 50-50 on him, or maybe 60-40 on him at best. But I'm going to vote for him to deliver a message against a system that would even do this.
Is that wishful thinking? I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're objective and fair and balanced, as they say over at Fox News. Yeah. Let me end on two real positive notes. Obviously, Memorial Day, a very special day. Unlike Ilhan Omar, most of us know what Memorial Day is for.
Tell everybody what she and Cori Bush did.
Oh, well, they both sent out tweets and social media posts that were quickly deleted, making the case that we got to get better health care. Happy Memorial Day. We need health care for our veterans. Yes. We need to treat our vets better. And they got Veterans Day confused with Memorial Day. So they immediately took down their posts. Yes. So those are the brain trusts that the voters of their districts have elected. But let me talk about what Memorial Day means in a way to me. And I saw something on CBS Sunday Morning, which is my favorite Sunday morning news show.
It's a wonderful day.
Jane Pauley, they did a feature on the World War II Museum in New Orleans, and I've been there. It's a spectacular museum. You know what they've done? They've taken surviving World War II veterans, took them to a Hollywood studio, and they filmed them, they taped them talking about their experiences at the Battle of the Bulge and Iwo Jima. And they've set it up so that, thanks to AI, people forever can ask them questions and say, what was the scariest moment you had? Or what was your most dangerous battle? And they will give an answer and it's them forever to be.
It's not right. They're not being their answers are not being artificially created.
Nope.
The AI hears your question and takes you to their answer in that field of expertise.
Because they spent 2 or 3 days taping all their experiences. It's a beauty. And you know what I want to do? I want to take I love this museum, Mark. This World War II museum is one of the greatest, I think, big secrets of America. It's in New Orleans. It is beautifully laid out. It's a wonderful tribute to the greatest generation. I think I want to put a group of people together to go there. I want to take a trip. I want to take a group of listeners to New Orleans. I'm going to work on that, and I'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Speaking of folks taking a trip somewhere, we're just days away from this. The good people of American Airlines and my very, very good friend Randy Stillinger, who's the liaison for Veterans Affairs over there. American Airlines is loading up a plane within the next few days to take some surviving World War II veterans to the beaches of Normandy.
Wow,
for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which is mere days away, and we might have some calls from that trip. May God bless this generation. And so the New Orleans Museum is probably an easier trip for people, but whatever you can do, especially coming up this Memorial Day, to remember these wonderful, wonderful folks who fought for our freedom.
God bless America. Good deal. And then final happy note, our Prison Fellowship summer camp campaign, we had a goal of 650 kids. Thanks largely to the Mark Davis audience and people all over the country. We're right now sitting at 718 kids. Boom. We're that far over our goal. Hey, the last couple of days of the campaign, go to MikeOnline.com. Send the child of an American prisoner to summer camp, whatever you can afford. MikeOnline.com. Just click on that Prison Fellowship banner at the top of the page. And thank you for supporting this great campaign, sending these kids to Christ-centered summer camps. And maybe these kids are going to take a different turn from their moms or dads. It's a beautiful thing, and I love it. Happy Tuesday, my friend.
Love you. Happy Tuesday, Mike Gallagher. As soon as we're done at 10, right here on 660 AM, The Answer.
660 AM, The Answer.